Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of The Aesthetic Edge by TIG. I am your host, Tracy. Today, I'm being joined by Brooke, a pioneer in light therapy with a practice out of Newport Beach, California. Welcome, Brooke, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Happy to be here.
Great. So, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do in the med spa aesthetic world?
Absolutely. So I do what's commonly called red light therapy. We use a variety of wavelengths of light in addition to red, but that's what it is commonly known as. I use a medical device called LightMD, and I have a wellness clinic where we provide treatments to people, and I also do mobile work with animals. But in general, we help people to heal themselves with our light energy. So we are at the intersection where Eastern and Western medicine meet. We're non-medical, but
Mm-hmm.
we use energy and quantum energy, actually, quantum medicine and light to basically stimulate cellular activity, which helps people heal.
I guess let's start at the beginning, right? You were involved in a car accident in 2007, right? And you turned to light therapy to help with healing. What made you turn to that, and did that help you establish Light MD and kind of where you're at now?
Yeah, it was a traumatic experience because with the cervical spine injury that I sustained and resulting neuroendocrine failure, brain injury, and all that, it really took a toll on my life, but also threw me into menopause in my 20s. I lost a bunch of weight, I gained a bunch of weight. I was just completely out of sorts. And as a young adult, I didn't have many options. Like, I didn't have good health insurance. I didn't have a lot of resources. So it was a really tough experience. And then I was also told that I had to have surgery by three spine surgeons. I couldn't drive. I couldn't feel my right arm. They said I'll never feel my right arm again. So I was really out of options. And growing up, I just knew my ex stepfather was a surgeon, and I had always heard that if you get back surgery, you're likely to have more back surgery 10 years later, if not sooner. And so I didn't want to start that process in my 20s. So
Yeah.
I was really trying to think of other options that would work for me. I was on a ton of medication, and that was just bringing me down. It felt like it wasn't healing me. It was just maintaining, and it wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted to live for myself. And I couldn't imagine, 40, 60, 80 more years of that. And
Sure.
so I looked to the inventor of this light technology, Dan Shell, and asked if this machine would help me. And sure enough, after 1 month, I weaned myself off of all medication. And I saw the light. And so, being a scientist, that's what kind of turned me around. I said, I'm not the only one who has experienced this diagnoses and dismal future ahead with prognosis, medical prognosis, and I just took it in my own power to change my life, and it was unknown. People thought I was crazy with this light device, but here we are today, almost 20 years later, and it's actually an industry.
Wow. No, that's great. So, how does what you experienced um, inform your approach with any clients or people that come to visit you for these therapies?
Well, I think I'm able to provide them a lot of hope. Having been through a chronic pain and severe debilitating painful experience, it helps me to lead from a place of knowing, of compassion, and also um, I'm inspiring for people because they see I physically I look healthy.
Mhm.
I move around pretty quickly and I still have structurally my neck and back are pretty messed up. I mean, I have some degenerative disc disease and spinal stenosis, but I'm physically moving and pretty happy and comfortable. And so people kind of see that and see that they too can resume somewhat of a normal life. So I
Sure.
believe that that really helps them. And also, to just understanding and being able to hear people when they're
Mhm.
talking to you, when being able to see them, see what they're struggling with. And unlike traditional Western medicine, where they might give you 7 to 10 minutes in a doctor's office, I give my clients as much time as they need. I'm their unlicensed therapist as well when they want to talk about their pain, but it comes from a place of love and I just really want to help them. And so understanding their pain brings me to that level.
Great. That is that's inspiring, right?
Thank you.
Connect with someone that way. That's amazing. So that's great. Okay, so red light therapy is has a more clinical name, right? Photobiomodulation. That is a lot of work. And so I guess let's kind of jump into the science behind photobiomodulation a little bit. So for those that are unfamiliar with that term, can you explain what that therapy is and how it differs from other light treatments?
Sure. So it is a mouthful. We'll divide it into three pieces. So photo, which is photons of light and energy.
Sure.
Bio means it's biologically working on anything living, so humans, animals, plants. And then modulation because it has an effect on that living thing. So light having an effect on a living organism. And
Hmm.
so that's what photobiomodulation scientifically is. And that's different. What we do is photobiomodulation. A lot of these common devices, you might see red light panels, wands, tanning bed style light therapy beds. It looks like a big tanning bed, but it has red light bulbs. Those, in order to reach a photobiological effect, you have to have a certain amount of sustained energy over a certain period of time. And that
Sure.
is a deep, innate mitochondrial response that's physical, biological, and chemical in nature. And so all of these things are acting on the body. Now, I'm not here to say what is and what isn't, but to actually do photobiomodulation, you have to reach that certain point of the amount of energy that's absorbed by the mitochondria in the cells. And so with our device, it's a medical device, so it's FDA approved. We have a lot of certifications. We're I-safe, we're FCC safe, so we are certified to work with in hospitals with other medical equipment, or if somebody has a pacemaker, it's not going to interfere with those frequencies. And so our device is designed to hug the curves of the body and the contours of the shape so that the light hits the skin at right angles. Having that means that it's going to penetrate deeper into the tissue, which is what you want, especially if there's something like arthritis or gut health or issues, heart issues. You really have to be able to have the light penetrate deep enough and not just affect the skin, the surface, and the blood. So
Sure.
that's what we invoke, and we have published papers showing this deep tissue effect and healing.
Great. Oh, that's great news. Okay, cool. Now, along those lines, with your LightMD devices, you utilize various wavelengths, including red, near infrared, green, blue, violet, et cetera. How do these different frequencies target specific tissues or conditions?
So it's a great question. We're a little different than most people. Most are offering primarily red with a splash of near infrared. The near infrared is extremely important, and I would dare to say a little bit more important than the red, but I don't want to go there. But most of our pre-programmed sessions are infrared dominant. That's because, as I just mentioned, the infrared is going to penetrate deeper. So the various wavelengths of light is like the colors, where you have the colors of the rainbow, Roy G. Biv, those are wavelengths of light. You have X-rays, you have radio waves, you have UV light. Those are also wavelengths. So where we operate is in the non-ionizing visible spectrum of light from near infrared all the way to violet light. Now it's not
Sure.
purple because it's not a combination of red and blue. It's actually violet light before the UV. And so on the higher end of the spectrum, which is the near infrared, that's around 880 nanometers. Now, our
Hmm.
device specs the LEDs so that it's a range from about 800 to 900. And what that does, it allows for deeper tissue penetration to the bones, to the organs, so that, and past the skull to the brain. When you're doing brain treatments, those are usually near infrared dominant. Now, red light is going to be the next one that's around 660. Once again, that's spec, but that's able to penetrate through the skin, through the blood, structure some of the water. And then a little more shallow than that is the green light.
Hmm.
Green light we use for fat burning, which is exciting because it shrinks the fat cells. So it gets through the layer of fat. And then you have blue light, which only penetrates the surface of the skin. That's antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral. It's good for colonized wounds or acne. And then
Sure.
lastly, you have violet light. And violet light penetrates the least depth, but it's closest to the UV, so it's good for vitiligo, it's good for psoriasis, itch suppression, eczema, and also anti-pathogenic.
Sure. Sure.
So there's a variety of colors of the rainbow basically that do different things. And then that's the wavelength. And then they're also frequency driven. So that just drives the frequency, which is the pulse of the light, drives it into specific tissue types.
That's very enlightening. Uh, pardon the pun. That 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 the different wavelengths of light and the frequencies can affect the human body in such a way. That is amazing. So along those lines, how does the photobiomodulation therapy support systemic health, particularly in the areas like immune modulation or gut brain axis balance?
Oh, I love this question. So, basically, when you apply the light pads to a certain area, the energy doesn't stay trapped. It's not in a vacuum. It doesn't, like, say I'm applying the light to my shoulder. Well, your shoulder's attached to your whole skeleton. You've got your neck, you've got your torso. It's
Yeah.
not isolated in a vacuum. So, the light doesn't just stay in the shoulder and the energy doesn't just stay there.
Mhm.
The way that this photobiomodulation works is it's the body's response to the light energy. So specifically the power plant of the cell is the mitochondria. That's
Right.
what absorbs the cytochrome C oxidase is what absorbs the light energy. That starts the process of releasing nitric oxide and calcium cation, which allows a fresh oxygenated blood into the cell. So doing that is a biological process that we are magically able to do on our own. What we're doing is speeding that up. So when I'm working on somebody's shoulder, it's going to really help their shoulder. But when I finish the session, we're not even done. It starts about 6 to 8 hours after that is when the photochemical, you have the warming sensation, the thermal benefits right away. And a lot of people get relief from that. But what I tell them is we have an excellent morning after effect where in 6 to 8 hours, it starts the photochemical process all the way up until 48 hours. When we're sleeping, as they say, sleep is so important to restore and regenerate your body, is when your body's actually using most of this energy. So the
Sure.
morning after our sessions is like prime time. When people wake up, it's either a humongous difference or just a little bit of a slight difference, just depending on their pain level, how long they've had it, what their
Hmm.
situation is. And then it actually, so the morning after is when though that energy has processed through the body and it's able to use it systemically. In
Okay.
addition, like if I was going to work on somebody's immune system, like you mentioned, I would have the pads on there from their sternal notch, like right above the thymus, all the way down to their gut. So that's getting into the thymus, the heart, the lungs, the pancreas, the intestines, and the colon. So that's really getting a large portion of your major internal organs that are
Sure.
functioning
Yeah.
for you. You're getting along the vagus nerve, you're getting along major arteries, your blood is flowing better, your lymph system is flowing better. So that's able to help your body be optimized. And part of the definition of the photobiomodulation, the modulation part is that if I'm working on somebody's immune system and they have an autoimmune condition where their immune system is overactive, when
Hmm.
I apply the light, it's not going to boost their immune system unless that's what their body needed.
Sure.
It has a modulating effect. So it's more about building the immune system. I can do the same program for somebody who has a weakened immune system and somebody who has a overactive immune system, and it would modulate to what each individual needs. And that's just the intelligence of our own body. And same thing, kind of, it's more, people understand it a little better, like with thyroid function, because your
Hmm.
thyroid can be overactive or underactive. Well, I have a cervical collar that goes right on the neck over the thyroid, and that I could do the exact same program, and it will raise somebody's thyroid or and it will lower the other person's thyroid if that's what they need. So
Sure.
it really creates the goal here, Tracy, is to create balance and restore homeostasis. Now, homeostasis is another one of those long words, but it's really a smooth and impactful state of being. It's where
Uh-huh.
everything is balanced in the body. Your pH is normalized, your cells are happy, your tissues are happy, you have enough water, you don't have too many toxins, and it is a really even nice place to be. So that is what we create with our light.
Great. That's great. Great. So moving into what the photobiomodulation does, right? Let's talk a little bit about how it affects more of your clients and your patients and the people that come see you, right? That's you hit on that a little bit, but let's get deeper into that point, right? So you offer protocols for brain health, including transcranial photobiomodulation. What conditions have you seen improve with this therapy? And what feedback do you get from clients once they have the treatment performed?
I dare to call it a job, but this path of mine is so rewarding because I'm changing people's lives every day. And it
Yeah.
feels so good because I'm not introducing medications that can have detrimental side effects. I'm introducing light. We are
Yeah.
all familiar with the sun and the benefits of the sun. I mean, that's how photosynthesis is how plants grow. How I
Mhm.
like to explain this for kids is it's photosynthesis for humans. You know, we need light to grow as well. And so, for people's brains, I help people with stroke recovery. I help Parkinson's clients to regain balance and regain speech, stop as all the shaking, and to really slow down the degenerative process of those degenerative diseases. Similar with Alzheimer's and dementia clients, I'm able to help them by doing the front brain. I'm able to help them with memory recall and cognition. So that's reversing, in a sense, their condition. Brain injuries as well, those can be really debilitating and change people's lives. And placing the pads on the brain, reducing the inflammation and help speeding along that process is life changing. I just got a message this morning from a woman who we helped probably 6 or 7 years ago. She had a brain injury and broke both of her wrists. And she ended up purchasing our equipment because I also sell the technology. And you don't have to be a doctor to operate it. It is helpful if you are, but anybody
Yeah.
can run it.
Right.
And so I sold her a device. And this is, like I said, about 6 years ago. Well, she messaged me today that her son is graduating UC Berkeley, and he had to drop out because he was viciously attacked and was attacked and sustained a major traumatic brain injury,
Uh,
and so major that he had to drop out of school for a couple years and didn't know who he was, couldn't function. And he has
mhm.
now returned back to UC Berkeley, back to the campus where it happened, and finished school, graduating with honors. And she is just, was messaging me about how grateful she is for changing their whole family's life. So
That's
it's stories like
right.
those that drive me, and even just the everyday stories of people being able to get off of the medication, or being told by their doctors that they had 2 to 3 years to recover from illnesses like autoimmune disease, mold illness, CIRS, and mast cell activation syndrome, and 2 to 3 years, 7 doctors, and in 5 to 6 months, I have their blood work completely balanced. I am able to see that they're asymptomatic. Their lives have changed. And so that's what I think is important here is being able to help people. And it's really, I consider it empowering them to heal. So
Yeah,
I'm putting the power back to the people to heal yourself.
sure. No, that's great. That is, I know I said inspiring already, but
Thank you.
yeah, no, that's like mind blowing is what it like that's phenomenal. Like that's a great story. It really is. So
It feels good, and when you're putting when people realize that they do have the power to heal themselves, they just need a little extra energy or push in the right direction, and the right formula that doesn't always have to be a pharmaceutical.
right.
Then it feels good for them. They feel like they're taking charge of their own health, and they're playing a role. And I think that's very important. Your cells hear you. Your cells hear your train of thought. If you're resisting a steroid medication from your doctor, or a third month of antibiotics, your body, your visceral gut reaction is telling you, like, I don't really want that.
Right.
And maybe you need it. I'm not against standard Western medicine care. I'm against over medication and over surgeries, but I'm not against, what we actually need.
Absolutely. So along those lines, um, how do you tailor your treatments for the people that come see you? Um, yeah.
Yeah, we do. We originally, when people come see us, we offer a 40-minute session. We do a consultation for free. We have a really low entry so that people, it's kind of like you have nothing to lose to try us. We
Right.
have it's half price of what our normal session is, and it's really so that people can come get their feet wet, just give it a try. And I know that 9 out of 10 times they're coming back because they're going to feel something in the first session. And we do time increments. Typically, people come for 40 to 60 minutes. Some people, just for a quick fix, will come for 20 minutes. But if people, come to see me at the office, usually they're staying for 40 to 60 minutes. They more than likely take a nap while they're here. It could be in the first of the day, they just woke up and they got moving, they had their coffee, and they came to do their light session. Never in a million years would they imagine falling right back asleep, but here they are in my office, peacefully snoring away and tucked in with the light, because what it does is it puts you into that restful state. It helps you to not have your monkey mind, moving a million miles an hour. You're not typically digesting. You're not, stressing out. So it calms the nervous system, puts you into that restful and relaxing state of mind, and then
Yeah.
you're able to heal. And
Yeah.
so people come in between 1 and 3 times a week. For some extreme cases, we have them come 5 days a week for the first couple of weeks. But after that, we generally do a protocol of 12 sessions in a period of 4 to 6 weeks is ideal.
Okay. That's great. That's really great. I love the low barrier to entry. That that is a big deal for a lot of people. So that is fabulous to hear.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's I've had other practitioners tell me I'm crazy because I spend so much time in the first part,
yeah,
and how do you offset that? And I really I want my treatment to be accessible by everyone. I'm in
yeah,
an affluent area of Newport Beach, but I'm also by an airport where we're at the intersection of about 5 cities, which may not also be affluent. And so people come to me from all over, and that's what I want. I want this treatment to be accessible. I want it to be achievable where it's not most wellness and holistic medicine treatments or holistic treatments are really expensive.
yeah.
And it's because, insurance doesn't pay for this. We're just cash pay business. But I want it to be accessible for everybody because everybody deserves the right to heal. So that's why we do it, and I'm sticking with it.
Your treatment is accessible for more than just people,
it
right?
it
You
is.
you mentioned earlier you treat a lot of pets and animals. How do you see how does this affect the animal physiology versus a human physiology, and what kind of results are typically seen for pets?
Well, animals, I mean I love animals, and watching them with light is just inspiring as it could be because there's no placebo effect
Right,
where our human mind gets in the way and says, "Oh, well, this is going to work or this is not going to work," whatever our predisposed beliefs are. We have a placebo effect mind. Animals do not have it. For
sure,
them, if they're not liking it, they're gonna leave. They're gonna fight their way out of it. They're gonna stop doing the treatment. They'll wiggle out, run away, whatever they can do. They're out of there. But we don't see that. Maybe the first time I'm doing a little bit of hugging and chasing and holding it, getting them to sit down. But after that, when I walk in the door, I'm being like licked, and kissed by the animal. They want to see me. They know what's up. They go right back to the area where I treated them before. I've helped a lot of dogs with IVDD, which is a paralysis. It's a intervertebral disc disease, I believe. It's similar to herniated disc in humans, and it's where they lose their the feeling in their back legs. And so
yeah,
you'll see these dogs on wheelchairs, and I work with a disabled dogs group called the Unstoppable Dogs, and I help a lot of them. They have dogs with prosthetics that are missing limbs. They all kinds have been through trauma, so we help them with infections. We help them with pain. I've helped one of them with glaucoma. Helping the dogs, but seeing these animals that were given a prognosis of surgery, say, and this surgery is $10,000, the MRI costs $5,000. So you're $15,000 in a surgery that's 50% successful for the
right,
IVDD. I get the sessions done and usually get the dog walking in about 4 to 8 sessions. We're talking under $700. And I get the dog walking again and almost back to normal with additional sessions, and they don't have to get operated on. And so seeing that, number one, you're seeing the owner who is devastated with the news of, number one, that their dog can't walk and this prognosis, or the dog is too old for surgery and they can't do it,
right,
or two, that they're faced with these huge medical bills, and they have to choose between going into real debt or saving their dog's life.
right.
We don't want people to have to choose that.
Absolutely.
And so I also do horses. I just love, like I said, I love animals, and I treat horses as well. And so that's, they have so much energy. You know, they have a huge aura. They are a calming force. And so being around them at the barn is something that I enjoy as well, and helping them heal.
The fact that it can treat not only people, but animals and just varieties of animals is, I feel like we need to be screaming about this treatment from the mountaintop. And people just embracing alternatives to what is traditional medicine in cases. And that is, um, that's really awesome. Unfortunately, we are coming short on time here, so I guess Brooke, how can people find you? What is your website and your social media handles that they can find you on?
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. It's at Ultra Red Light. I'm also on LinkedIn under Brooke McKeever, and my website is ultraredlight.com. And so there you can see where you can do treatments. And if you're not in Southern California, don't fear. We still have other practitioners. They're not my business, but I'm happy to refer all over the country. Or if somebody would like to specifically work with me, I do rent out my systems. So I rent out my light therapy, LightMD systems, the medical device. I rent those out short term and long term. I also sell the technology. So I'm happy to provide information, and everybody just reach out if you have any questions.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Brooke. You have been great to talk to, and I hope that our audience will go out and reach out to you. That would be, I think, a great first step for a lot of people who are looking for treatments to ailments that they're having that they cannot seem to get past. So, thank you for being an inspiration, and thanks for joining us on the Aesthetic Edge. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Tracy.